In this video, we're going to create this drop-down menu inside of a navigation bar from scratch using only CSS without any JavaScript. Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome back to J&J GeoDev. I'm Jiros, and today we'll be building a drop-down menu using only CSS. So let's jump into VS Code and get started. I already have a basic HTML file set up with some boilerplate code and a completely empty CSS file. So first thing we can do is link our HTML and CSS files together and start laying out the markup for our navigation. So here we are basically adding a nav parent container, and inside of it we are nesting 4 elements, 3 of which are normal anchor elements, and the last one being a div container that will store our drop-down menu. And inside of it we have a button that will basically act as the 4th link inside of our navigation, and whenever we hover over it, we will display these drop-down links, which by default will be hidden. Next up, we can add some classes to our HTML elements so we can reference them in our CSS styles. And moving on to our style sheet, let's first start off by targeting the body of our HTML document and getting rid of the default styles. Let's also go ahead and change the default background color of our web page and the color of our typography as well. And if we save, we can see our styles being applied. We can also go ahead and import a different font style for our web page, and this one is from Google Fonts, and let's make sure to apply it to our web page as well. Let's go ahead and save again, and as we can see, the font family has been applied properly. Next up, let's target the navigation bar, which has a class of navigation, and change it to a flexbox. Let's also change its background color and slightly increase the font size of its child elements. After we save, we can see the changes being applied to our web page. Let's also go ahead and target the anchor elements that are inside of our navigation bar and change their default styles by removing the underline and also making sure they inherit the color of our web page. We can also give them a very short transition period so we can animate them later on. Moving on, we can target any direct children of the navigation bar and also the button element and give them some padding so they have some breathing room. Let's also make sure our drop-down menu doesn't have any default padding and hide any child elements that overflow. Now let's style the actual links that are inside of the drop-down menu. So for this purpose, we can target the anchor elements that are direct children of the div that contains those drop-down links. Let's make them block level elements and also give them some padding to make them nicely spaced out. And if we save, we can see the changes taking place and our navigation beginning to look a bit nicer. The last thing we can do on our drop-down links container is make sure it is hidden by default, as we only want to show it when we hover our mouse over the subjects button. Let's also position it absolutely so it will be taken out of the normal flow, and let's also give it a nice green background color together with a very subtle box shadow around it. And next up, we can add some hover styles on our links and the button inside of the navigation bar so they nicely change their background color whenever the user hovers their mouse over them. And if we save, we can see the elements behaving exactly how we want it. We can also style our button so it will blend in alongside the rest of the links. And for this purpose, let's get rid of the default styles for the button and make sure it inherits the colors of its parent element. We can do the same for the font size and the font family as well. And let's also give it a very short transition too, so it will nicely animate whenever we hover over it. And to finish off, let's target the drop-down menu and make sure it displays whenever we hover over our button. And to do this, we simply change the display property from none to block. And let's go ahead and save, and as we can see, we have a working navigation bar together with a drop-down menu that displays only whenever we hover our mouse over the subjects button. And that's how we can build a drop-down menu without using any JavaScript. I'll put the source code down in the description if you guys are interested in playing around with it. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it useful, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.